Hey Tahir, part of the reason that we fear Israel in this respect is because for decades, and I mean going back to the late 1800s, all our successive governments and we as a people have allowed Zionists to infiltrate every single area of British commerce and enterprise and infrastructure in this deluded idea that their unilateral allyship justifies cooperation with them at every level. And so we allow them to control our data, including all of your and my health information through the NHS with companies like Palantir and others. We cooperate with them militarily and from an intelligence point of view in an almost entirely unilateral way. We get fuck all back from these people except when it suits them. We have hard and software integration with Israeli companies and the Israeli government and CIA and Mossad-linked organizations that cover our entire power grid, our cybersecurity network, our wireless networks, our mobile phone networks. And so this is not an empty threat. And put aside the fact that they've, in addition to that infiltration of our systems and economic system, they have also systematically blackmailed and bribed more or less every politician of every party in the UK for decades, and of course in the United States and Canada and Western Europe, the same thing. So that when push comes to shove, when you are faced with a situation that openly and explicitly shows what their ambition has always been, to ethnically cleanse, dominate, and take over the whole of Palestine, any resistance to that explicit move by the Zionists is quelled by exactly this: threats of blackmail, threats of economic harm, threats of exposure of kiddie fiddling, threats of labeling us and our government and our people as anti-Semitic. All of this over decades of the full knowledge that they were ultimately going to do something as fucked up as ethnically cleanse the remaining Palestinians that they didn't displace in 1948 and 1967 and during the multiple massacres since the founding of that terrorist state, Israel, was going to, amongst moral people, breed outrage, breed resistance. Because anyone with a heart can look at what Israel has done and is doing and realize that it is wrong and evil. And they wanted to be in a position where when the world woke up to those horrors, they could ensure that our governments in the Western world did absolutely fuck all about it, because they were all in the pocket of the Israeli government, its military and its intelligence services. So that there is this massive disconnect between our leaders who are complicit in this genocide and ethnic cleansing and the rest of us who are horrified by it and want our government, our military, to do something about it. And so we watch helplessly as they lie to us, as they continue to supply arms and means and impunity and money to these genocidal fuckwits in Tel Aviv, all because their ability to do this to us has been enabled in the most deluded and blind fashion by successive governments of the UK going back as far as the early 1900s, but particularly since the greed and profit at all costs days of Margaret fucking Thatcher, who of course, surprise, surprise, counted Israel as a friend, in the same way that she and Reagan were the last supporters of apartheid in South Africa, because the beating evil heart of neoconservatism is profit at any cost, is the real manifestation of that old saying, kill them all and let God sort it out. So I guess I've made the argument. The question is, what do we do about it? Well, if we had a government with real moral heart, with principles, with values, they would recognize the reality of this power that they have given away and that they are complicit in and start clawing it back. Cancel the data projects with the Israeli companies, reclaim what is ours, and of course avoid hardware and software deals with Israelis. And it stuns me since the Hezbollah pager incident that hasn't already been done. Because the minute any government official turns against these psychopaths, they will not hesitate to target them. And they've proved that they have multiple ways of doing that. So we know we'd see sudden illnesses and car crashes and unexplained suicides, exposure of pedophiles, exposure of fraud, exposure of expenses scandals, exposure of heart conditions and health conditions, because we've given them the fucking information over time on the basis that they're our allies when they are anything but. Fuck Israel and free Palestine.